Hi, my name is Graham Smith, and I'm one of the authors that helped develop the learning approach to mathematics that is found in our textbook as well as the video you are about to experience. To learn more about our approach to learning mathematics, visit the web address that accompanies this video. Now, enjoy the video. Converting between the US system and the metric system. This video will help you convert between units of measure in the metric and US systems, and also convert between Fahrenheit and Celsius degrees of temperature. Convert between units of measure in the metric and US system. As we move toward a more global economy, converting between the metric system and the US system is becoming increasingly more important. In this table here, we have some conversion factors that go from the US to metric and then from the metric to US. Hit pause and take a look at some of these conversion factors. It is not, however, necessary for most people to know these conversion factors. These are usually factors that we would just look up if we needed to know these. Now let's take a look at some examples that will help you understand how to convert between the US and metric system of measures. Example 1. Convert 6 miles into kilometers. And from our table here we have this conversion that 1 mile is equal to 1.61 kilometers. Well, we're going to use a units fraction to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write 6 miles as a fraction. So we just write 6 miles over 1. Now I want to multiply by a units fraction here that is going to divide those miles out. So I put the miles in the bottom. Now I'm converting to kilometers. So I want the kilometers now to go in the top. And let's look at our conversion. It said 1 mile is equal to 1.61 kilometers. So let's see. The old unit of miles are going to divide out and leave me with kilometers. So on the top I'm going to have this 6 times 1.61, and that was kilometers. And in the denominator I just have 1. So I need to take and multiply 6 times 1.61. So let's see on some scratch work. 1.61 times 6. When we do that multiplication, we're going to end up with 9.66. So coming back to our problem then, it looks like we're going to get 9.66 kilometers when I convert 6 miles into kilometers. Example 2. Convert 10 liters into quarts. So we'll start with 10 liters, write as a fraction, put it over 1. Now we want to divide those liters out, so liters is going down here in the bottom. And we're converting this now to quarts, so we want our quarts up here in the top. And let's take a look at our conversion here. 1 liter is equal to 1.06 quarts. So 1 liter is equal to 1.06 quarts. The old unit of liters is going to divide out for us. Let's take a look and see what we have when we multiply. So on the top we're going to have this 10 times 1.06, and that's quarts. And in the bottom we're just going to have 1. So I need to take 1.06 times 10. Well, if I multiply by 10, all that does is move the decimal place 1 to the right. So that's just going to give me 10.6. So let's see, 10.6, and that is quarts. So when I convert 10 liters into quarts, I get 10.6 quarts. Now it's time to check your understanding of converting between the US and metric system. Hit pause on your video player and answer these guided practice questions. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 1. What would a 150-pound person's weight be in kilograms? Well, we're starting with 150 pounds. We want to convert this into kilograms. So let's start by writing that 150 pounds as a fraction. So we put it over 1. I want to multiply by a units fraction here that is going to divide out those pounds and introduce kilograms. And our conversion is right here. 1 pound equals 0.454 kilograms. So 1 pound equals 0.454 kilograms. Let's take a look. Our old unit of pounds is going to divide out nicely for us. And in the numerator we're going to be left with 150 times 0.454 kilograms. In the denominator we just have 1. So we're going to have to multiply 150 times 68.454. And when we do that multiplication, we're going to get 68.1. So it's going to give us 68.1 kilograms. So a person that weighed 150 pounds would weigh 68.1 kilograms. Question 2. How many feet is a 400-meter track? Well, we're going to convert this 400 meters then into feet. So we start by writing 400 meters over 1. We want to divide out those meters, so I'm going to put the meters in the bottom, and now we're converting that to feet. So feet's going to go in the numerator, and let's look at our conversion. 1 meter equals 3.28 feet. So we have 1 meter down here, and then 3.28 feet in the top. Our old units of meters divide out for us, and looks like in the numerator we're going to have 400 times 3.28 feet, and in the denominator just 1. So we'll have to come off on some scratch work here, and we take 400 times 3.28. When we do that multiplication, we're going to end up with 1,312. So we get 1,312 feet in a 400-meter track. Convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit degrees of temperature. To convert between Fahrenheit and Celsius, use the following formulas. So if we're starting with Celsius and we want to convert it to Fahrenheit, this is the formula that we're going to use. And you can see here we would plug the information, the Celsius, in there for C, and when we plug that in and do some calculations, we would get the Fahrenheit degrees. Now if we're starting with Fahrenheit and we want to convert it to Celsius, we would use this formula, where we would plug the Fahrenheit degrees in here, do some calculations, and that would give us that degree temperature in Celsius. Now let's take a look at some examples that will help you understand how to convert between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Example 3. Convert 45 degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. Well, here is our formula that is going to take us from degrees Celsius and give us an answer in Fahrenheit. So let's write this out, and I'm going to plug this 45 degrees in for the degrees Celsius. That's going in there for the C. So let's see, it's going to say F then is going to equal 9/5 times, well, the degrees in Celsius was 45, and then plus 32. We want to follow the order of operations here to simplify this expression on the right, which means we're going to need to do this multiplication before the addition. However, to multiply 9/5 times 45, we are going to need to write 45 as a fraction. So we're going to have 9/5 to write as a fraction. We'll just write it over 1. 45 over 1 plus 32. Okay, now we're ready to multiply 9/5 times 45. And remember, when we do that, we just factor this stuff out to simplify kind of as we're going. So I'm going to write one big fraction bar for those fractions that I'm going to multiply together. Let's see, looking across the numerators here, 9, I'm thinking 3 times 3. 45, I'm thinking 5 times 9. Well, 5 is prime. 9 is not, so I'll factor 9 again. That was 3 times 3. In the denominator, I just have 5 times 1. Let's look for common factors now. Yep, just one common factor of 5. Let's come over here now, and let's see what we have left. So in the numerator of this fraction, I have 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3 again, which is 27, times 3 one more time, which is 81. So I get 81 over 1, which is just 81, and then I have plus 32, and so I want to add 81 and 32 together. Let's take a look here on some scratch work. So I'd have 81 plus 32, that's going to give me 3, and then 3 plus 8 is 11. So 45 degrees Celsius converts to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Example 4. Convert 50 degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius. So we're going to take this 50 degrees Fahrenheit and we're going to plug it in that formula for F. Let's take a look here. So C is going to equal 5 times, and then that's going to be 50 degrees minus 160, and that's all going to get divided by 9. So let's take a look. Following the order of operations, we would want to do this multiplication up here first. So 5 times 50, 5 times 5 is 25, so 5 times 50 is 250 minus 160 over 9. Now we're going to get and do the subtraction first. 250 minus 160, that's going to give me 90. And so I have 90 divided by 9. So we'll come over here. 90 divided by 9, well, 9 is going to go into 90 10 times. So when I convert 50 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, I get 10 degrees Celsius. Now it's time to check your understanding for converting between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Hit pause on your video player and answer these guided practice questions. When you're done, hit play to see how you did. Question 3. Convert 15 degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. Well, so what I want to do is I want to take this 15 degrees Celsius, plug it into that formula for C. So let's write this out. So we would have F equals 9/5 times 15 degrees plus 32. And now to multiply 15 times 9/5, I would have to write 15 as a fraction. So it would be 9/5 times 15 over 1 plus 32. Now I would want to multiply these fractions, I would want to first factor. So 9 is 3 times 3. 15 is 3 times 5. In the denominators, I just have 5 times 1. Our common factors of 5 divide out. I don't want to forget that 32 on there. Okay, now let's take a look again. So with that fraction, I'm going across the top here. I would say 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 again is 27 over 1. Well, 27 over 1 is just 27 plus 32. So on some scratch work here, we would do 27 plus 32. So 9, 5. We're going to get 59 degrees Fahrenheit when we convert 15 degrees Celsius. Question 4. Convert 41 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we're going to take this 41, we're going to plug it in there for F. So let's see, we have 5 times 41 minus 160, all divided by 9. We're going to start with the multiplication, 5 times 41, so we come over here on some scratch work. 520, so 205. So we're going to get 205 minus 160 over 9. 205 minus 160. Well, if it was 200 minus 160, that would be 40. So 205 minus 160 is going to be 5 more than that, or 45. And then we're going to divide that by 9. 45 divided by 9 is just 5. So when we convert 41 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, we get 5 degrees Celsius. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to check out our other videos that we have on YouTube, or visit the web address that accompanies this video to learn more about our approach to learning mathematics.